Hello, my name is April Rennella. I am currently in the South College bathroom today to teach you about action potential in neurons. Okay, so to give a brief overview, action potential is the electrical signal sent across neurons that transfers signals between neurons. It activates neurotransmitters in the axon terminals and that allows the transfer of charge to the next neuron. So, how that works, well, first I'm just going to have the diagram. So you've got two neurons here. So the first neuron sends a signal, and then it builds up in the axon hillock and is sent to the next neuron's dendrites. So, let's see. Yes, that is illustrated by this little diagram here. This is the axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron sending neurotransmitters to the postsynaptic neuron. These neurotransmitters bind to depending on what they are, bind to specially designed proteins that are called ligand-gated ion channels. These ligand-gated ion channels, when bound with the ligand, which is a neurotransmitter, will open up and let in this case I said sodium, but it could be pretty much any ion like potassium or chlorine let into here, or alternatively it could be letting out positively charged ions to make the membrane potential more negative or positive. If the resting potential becomes more negative, then a signal is dampened and a neuron is less likely to send an action potential. But if it's made more positive, like here where sodium enters this neuron, you increase your chances to start an action potential. So what an action potential is, it happens when a neuron, illustrated by this graph here, this is all going to be backwards, isn't it? Wow, that sucks. Okay, in any case, so with enough positive input from other signaling neurons, a neuron will decide whether or not to start an action potential. And the way that it does that is if enough positive charge reaches the receiving neuron to pass this threshold, which is around negative 55 microvolts. And if it passes that threshold, it starts an action potential, and this action potential is caused when voltage-gated sodium channels open up in the axon, and sodium rushes into the neuron. Sodium rushes in because the concentration of sodium is so much higher outside the neuron than it is inside, that once these voltage-gated channels are opened by this very small change in voltage, a ton of sodium can rush in, and the neuron is made much more positive, and then this signal travels down the neuron and reaches the end, which can activate neurotransmitters, which can send the signal to new neurons. This huge rise in charge is caused by sodium channels opening up, and then this fall is caused by potassium channels opening up, which potassium will rush out of the neuron because concentrations of potassium are much higher in the neuron than outside. And if the neuron opens these voltage-gated potassium channels, the charge drops precipitously. And there's a small refractory period before it levels back out to its resting membrane potential at negative 70. All the collective charges received because it doesn't have to just be from one neuron. It could be many neurons giving the receiving neuron a signal. All the charges received are built up in the axon hillock. And in the axon hillock, if the charge reaches this threshold, an action potential starts. But if it doesn't reach that threshold, no action potential starts. And then once action potential starts, the whole cycle can be repeated again with other neurons. Thank you very much for your time.